All right, I'm here with Coach Mike Dierks, and he's been bringing his team to Boulder Running Camp for the last couple years. Tell us about where you coach, kind of how long you've been coaching there, and some of the things that you found made your program so successful.
We're in Kansas City, Missouri, at a school called Rockhurst High School. It's a Jesuit all-boys school of about 1,100 boys, and it's the only all-boys school in Kansas City. And so we've got a strong tradition there of great athletics, and so we've always had the ability to get a lot of kids to get interested in being in sports. We probably have over 65% of our kids do some sport in the school year. And so we're about 135 kids in the track and field team, and about 90 to 100 kids in the cross country team.
So how have you been able to build such a strong, big program and sort of keep retaining all of those student athletes?
Well, I think a lot of it stems from your students, and if we want to treat them as if they are cared for. We want to give them the best opportunities to be individually coached. We've been really lucky with our administration giving us usually about 5 coaches a year, and so we can break them into smaller groups and stuff, and our coaches really care for the kids. And so I think when you have those small groups, then you can really say, hey, here's a chance for you to get better, and we focus on everybody improving. It's not just our top 5 or top 7 or whatever. And we try to make it as fun as possible. So it took a while. We were probably at about 40 or 50 kids when I started coaching about 17, 18 years ago. And I think now it's kind of known that it's a program where you're going to get in shape, you're going to be challenged, and our parents are great about supporting us. And so it's kind of just become a nice little community that we really work with.
And so you've had some pretty successful 4x800 meter relay teams. Talk a little bit about kind of the depth you've had there, and then maybe a little bit about some of the workouts you do to prepare kids to be middle distance runners.
Yeah, I was a former 800 meter runner at Notre Dame, and so I guess that's kind of my heart, my love of the events and track. And so I think we've always put an emphasis on our 4x8. It's a big race in the state of Missouri, and so we've probably had, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 teams that have run under 8. We've had the last 2 years we've gone under 750, and our best is 745 that we won state and missed the state record with 3 seniors and a junior, and then so that was 2 years ago. And then this year we had that 1 junior return and added 3 kids in there, and pretty much shocked the state by repeating. And had an anchor as a sophomore pass everybody in the last 100 meters. So I think now it's a tradition for our kids to say, if you want to be good at track, and you're going to run the 800. And so we look to put kids in that race. And in terms of workouts, we really try to use a phasing system in terms of training, and we don't get into a lot of speed early. It's Kansas City, and so we're lucky if we're on a track by mid-March. It's usually got snow and stuff like that, so you got to be kind of inventive, whether that means you're in the gym doing line sprints or stuff like that, or doing some type of circuit workout, and then hoping you can get out and get some distance in. When we get into the meat of our season, we'll do a lot of strength and tempo stuff mid-season, and then about 4 or 5 weeks out is when we really kind of put together our pretty consistent plan, where we do some 600 repeats, we do some double 400s with very limited rest in between. That's race modeling. And I think we've seen a lot of success when we added in doing repeat 200s with 2 minutes rest, trying to get up to 20, or, starting at 20 and work your way down. So you do maybe 16 at 36 with 2 minutes rest, and then you go to 10 at 30 with 2 minutes rest, and then you go to 8 at 28 with 2 minutes rest. And so if you start that at the early on in the season and move down through, we've felt like that's a really good strength workout for our kids. And as I say, our double quarter workout is probably one of the hardest things we put our kids through, but it seems to really prepare them. Just about every time the week after they have that workout, they say that race was the next easiest, and they usually drop about 10 seconds. So
So what what are sort of some of the general principles in terms of total volume and things like that the guidelines you might follow for kind of your middle distance athletes?
Well, for middle distance and track, it's pretty much a little bit more on feel. It would be tough for me to say exactly how much volume they're doing, because we might be bringing a guy down and we might be bringing a guy up, and so one of our guys who's a sophomore, Carson Bodie, is really a 400-800 kid. He's a 49 flat, 155. So he's not going to run a huge amount of volume in track season, but what we'll try to do is get his volume pretty decent through summer, fall, and winter, in the cross country kind of base period thing, so that then we don't have to have him going out and doing a 12-miler or stuff like that. In terms of cross country in summer, we're about 55, maybe 65 if the kid's been with us for a couple of years on the varsity level, and just kind of feel like that's a good window for us. We're real big into making sure we run either you call it marathon pace or aerobic threshold, probably twice a week, to try and really make sure that they're not jogging it. One of the challenges of having a really large team is you can have guys slow down because they say, hey, I want to run with my buddy and stuff like that. So we have quite a few charts and stuff that we say, this is what we want to hit today. And then, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow's just an easy day and stuff like that. So that's been a huge, I think, improvement for us, is focusing on the strength training of cross country and not trying to, we don't do many intervals. We're going to do a lot of, on grass by minute with maybe 1 to 2 minute recovery stuff, just to kind of make sure that they're working that strength zone as much as they can, because our state meet is really hilly. It's not fast. In fact, most of our courses are that way. And so it doesn't really do a whole lot to have them run 400 quarter repeats. Instead, I'd much rather have them run, like a 1,000 or, a 3 minute, and then give them a minute, or something like that. And depending upon what their pace is.
Fantastic. What would you say are kind of your goals, your primary goals for each kid, kind of when they come into your program? What are the objectives you're trying to accomplish with each of them?
I think that's changed a lot over the years. I mean, we're finding a lot of kids just need to exercise. So the first goal is to get somebody to understand how to be in shape, how to eat right, the value of sleep, priorities. Our school is a very rigorous academic school. I mean, most of our kids have 3 to 4 hours of homework a night. And so the first priority is, how do you blend all that together and still, be able to survive and actually thrive in it. And so once a kid has that down, then we try to instill in a passion for being a great athlete, a passion for the ability to compete at a local level. We start with tiers of saying we want to be one of the best teams in Kansas City, then we want to be one of the best teams in the state of Missouri, and then if possible we want to be one of the better teams in the region. And so we just kind of have these goals, and so we start with that, and then we do a lot of verbal goal setting in front of everybody. So we'll sit down a team of 100 and they'll all stand up and say what their top goal is, so then that's kind of, everybody can hold them and help them get to that point. And that was really helpful for us to kind of break through and have kids say things like, I want to be an All-American, or I want to win a state championship, or stuff like that. And when you say that, you kind of have to back it up a little bit more, especially in an all-boys environment, and so that works for us. So, and then we figure an individual plan with it. So part of the reason for us coming out here is the kids get an opportunity to train at this absolutely awesome camp. It's well run by all you guys, and more importantly then is we can come back after this and say, okay, now what do you individually want to do? We'll sit down with kids starting tomorrow and Sunday, 30 minutes with each kid to say, okay, tell me your strengths, your weaknesses, and then how are you going to get there? And they need to be able to articulate that. And so I think that's kind of our overall plan on how we take kids through the program. And it's been a great experience as a coach. For me, it's neat to see kids who probably never could run under 23, 24 minutes running 16, 17 minutes by the time they're seniors, and because we have no feeder system. We have no idea. I have a lot of kids that can't run a mile on their first day. And so you just got to be really patient and make it a community where they're supported no matter how they do. And they're given opportunity to succeed, and a lot of them take hold of that and they become very driven.
Well, thanks so much. We love having you at camp and love having you back every year. So thanks for taking the time to talk with us for a little bit.
Sure.